Assalamualaikum. So now we continue in our chapter SPS 477 Physiology of Sport and Exercise. So we go into the topic 5 hormonal response during exercise, endocrine system and exercise. So in this chapter we can see the parts of our body that involve in the endocrine system. So what is the endocrine system? So endocrine system is a regulate body function via hormones. Example of the hormone that involved in our body is pituitary, thyroid, adrenal glands, pancreas, testes, and ovaries. So hormones are chemical messengers secreted by glands into the bloodstream. So the hormones will absorb, will go through into the bloods to regulate the body function. Exercise acts as a physiological stressor that trigger hormone response. So during we perform the exercise, so our hormone will be triggered and then regulates to make a body function. Hormonal adaptation differ between acute and chronic exercise. So acute is a thing that happens immediately, and a chronic is a thing that happen is long term. So these tables, we go to the hormonal qualification and mechanism. There are several type of hormone here. For example, peptide hormones, steroid hormones. So peptide hormone and steroid hormone are the two major type of hormones in the endocrine system, and they are different in structure, functions, and how they interact with the target cells. So peptide hormones is water solubles, and steroid hormone is a lipid solubles. So you can see in these tables, okay, they show the mechanism between the type of hormones. This is hormonal classification mechanism that I said before. They have two mechanism of hormone, which are peptide and steroid. So the peptide hormone bind to receptor and cell membranes. So they activate the G protein and go to the second messenger. For the steroid hormones, okay, it can cross the cell membrane, so bind with the intracellular receptor in cytoplasm or nucleus, directly affect the gene expression. This is the way how the peptide hormones moving into the nucleus. Okay, you can see in the picture that the receptor and then bind to the cell membranes. So during the peptide hormone, they need to activate the G proteins, and the second messenger causes a cellular response, example enzyme activation and ion channel opening. So for the peptide hormones, is the long process compared to the steroid hormone. So this is the process of the steroid hormones. Okay, you can see in the picture that one. Okay, so the steroid hormones enter the cells and then bind directly with the hormone receptor complex. So the complex binds, okay, to the sites of chromatins, so activate the mRNA transcription, so can lead to the protein synthesis of suppressant. So this is the process for the hormones for steroid. Okay, we go into the next acute hormonal response to exercise. So what is the meaning of the acute? Acute is a refer to the short-term effect. So exercise intensity and duration may affect hormonal release. Okay, sympathetic nervous system activation lead to increased epinephrine and non-epinephrine or catecholamines, and then increase the heart rates, blood pressure, glucogenosis and lipolysis, increase level of cortisol, support energy availability via protein catabolism and glucogenosis. So the sympathetic nervous system is one part of the autonomic nervous system, which means that control involuntary bodily function. So the acute hormonal response is to exercise. Metabolic hormone during exercise. So there are several hormones involved during exercise. Insulin regulates blood glucose level, help store glycogen in muscles. So insulin decrease during moderate to intense exercise to promote fuel mobilization. And then glucagon. So glucagon will increase blood glucose during exercise. So will be increased to simulate glucogenosis and gluconeogenesis. So glucogenosis is breakdown of glycogen into the phosphate, and then gluconeogenesis is formation of the new glucose for the non-carbohydrate sources like amino acid, glycerol, and lactic. So for the hormones, growth hormones will be increased with the prolonged moderate to high intensity exercise, promote lipolysis and tissue repair. So lipolysis is the breakdown fat to the energy. Respond to resistance and endurance training. So there are several hormones will be triggered during the process of the resistance and endurance training. So for the resistance training, increase in level of testosterone, growth hormone and cortisol for the short term, and then promote muscle hypertrophy and strength. For the endurance training, sustain increased level of cortisol and catecholamines, enhance energy mobilization and cardiovascular adaptation. That you can see in the table here, they show a difference between hormone for the response to the resistance and endurance training. So resistance training normally anabolic hormone profiles, build and repair muscles. For the endurance training, catabolic and metabolic hormonal response, fuel regulations and cardiovascular efficiency. So for the combinations of both can optimize overall fitness, body composition and hormonal health. Chronic adaptation to exercise. So chronic is a long term, okay, that adaptation or permanent changes in the body that result from consistent repeated exercise over time. This adaptation improve performance, efficiency and recovery across various systems of the body. So for the hormonal response become more efficient and with regular training, decrease level of resting cortisol, increase level of insulin sensitivity, decrease level of catecholamine response at a sub-maximum intensity. Training improve receptor sensitivity and feedback regulation. So the slide show the level of cortisol response to the same absolute workload for the comparison between trained and untrained individuals for the chronic adaptation to exercise. So you can see there are differences between trained and untrained individual for the level of cortisol. This slide show about the chronic hormonal adaptation to regular exercise, level of testosterone and cortisol. So you can see that the difference between two levels for the testosterone and cortisol hormones. Okay, the key takeaway you can make for the better understanding. Exercise induce both acute and long-term changes in hormonal levels. Hormonal response vary with exercise moods, intensity, and training status. Understanding endocrine response is the key to optimizing athletic performance and recovery. Thank you to listening about this chapter. Hopefully you understand about this chapter, endocrine system with performance.